Hello everyone, my name is Gabrielė Domarkaitė. I am an applied graphics major and a freelance digital artist studying at Vilnius Academy of Arts in Kaunas, Lithuania. And this is my project. In these strange times, we're all unsure about our families and our friends' safety. This pandemic has left some marks on our daily routines, which have become unerasable. They've left scars for some. As an art student specifically, I have no real knowledge of the medical world, which makes this a lot more scary. I am never sure if I am safe, if my loved ones are safe, which makes this whole situation terrifying. My work, this project, I hope can bring a glimpse of hope into these depressing times we're all in together. I present the soldiers that we all seem to forget at times of peace and prosperity. The ones that used to wear heavy clothing and bird-like masks in the olden days. The ones that are currently our first line of defense against something so mythical, some choose not to even believe in it. I wanted to portray the heroes of the medical world in a way I have not seen them yet. As an artist, I usually stick to the digital medium, so a traditional project is always a challenge. I seem to have a different way of working on my projects compared to some other artists. Instead of the idea, I like to first visualize the thing I want to portray. It's difficult for me to think abstract, to not have something tangible in my hands while thinking. From random sketches, the visual of a wild, medic-like figure appeared, which I thought could be a good base for the work. Wanting to keep the wild look, I chose the technique of cardboard cut printing for my project, which has a rough texture and more unpredictable printing results compared to lino cut or etching. I used a 60 cm long and 50 cm wide, 5 mm thick piece of cardboard and an X-Acto knife for the tools. The idea itself, as mentioned, is to create a visual of what I imagine a mystical doctor to look like. Since medical professionals are sometimes working with things the naked eye can't see, I wanted to add that almost magical element of their work into the project. The result looks slightly like a shaman or something of the sort, because of that mystical influence. Back to the medium, as a primarily digital artist, I am more accustomed to a wide range of tools and effects which make traditional work seem limiting and yet more freeing in an unusual sense. Knowing what exactly will happen to a print is almost impossible, which makes the whole process quite experimental. Knowing how much paint one needs to leave on the cut cardboard was something I struggled with at the beginning of the printing process. Some of the paint seeps into the cardboard and makes it swell if it's not properly covered in a hardening liquid. After a few trials and errors whilst printing, the final prints were made on a thinner watercolor paper for more texture and oil paints. In the final lineup, I've ended up with 12 pieces. Seeing that something was missing, watercolor paints were added to make the works pop a bit more and to make them look more lively, to accentuate the uniqueness of each print. I used almost electric colors to make the heavy dark blue oil paints I used for the prints feel fresher and less overbearing. The main 5 colors I used were more saturated versions of blue, green, yellow, red, and pink. In my opinion, they make a nice palette. Colorful, yet not unpleasantly chaotic. Overall, I'm quite happy with the way this project turned out. The colors and textures make the pieces interesting and visually appealing to look at, in my opinion. Even though I had some issues with the prints and the cardboard itself at first, I managed to reach the result I had gone for at the beginning. Thank you for watching.
Казвам се Никола Tsvetanov, уча графика при професор DESISLAVA в Националната художествена академия в София. Трета година студент съм. Направил съм този проект за FIC Bilbao, Cubes of Tentation, защото съм повлиян от моята гледка през ателието, живея на 18-ти етаж. Повлиян съм от организацията на моя град и как се развива, колко е красива и колко е конструктивна. През локдауна, когато бяхме 3 месеца или повече в домовете си, през моето ателие забелязвах невидимия враг по различен начин. Трансформирах енергията, която исках да изразя, чрез повлияване в старите майстри като Питър Брьогел в Вавилонска кула, конкретно Густав Доре и така нататък, големи имена. Работя на плейвуд. Според статистиките, това са жертви най-големите държави и градове, починени умряли, и след това почвам моите невидими врагове за моя град, моето общество. Това са мои мисли и не само мои. Мисли на обществото, според мен. Това е моята Urban Anarchy, защото мравълника е едно прекрасно урбанизирано общество, според мен. В тях нарочно има правописни грешки, защото нашето общество не е чисто и не е чисто като дете, но прави грешките на дете.
Verginia Vlachkova и това е моя клуб за FIC Bilbao. И разработила съм темата си за ДНК и неговото модифициране, понеже се вдъхнових от идеята за от идеята за модифициране на ДНК през 2018, в която китайски учен модифицира, като инжектира вътре протеин. И това се вижда в работите ми, които са поглед от микроскоп. Самия процес на модифицирането чрез пълтък от CRISPR-Cas9 и как изглежда навътре. Тоест той редактира и започва от първата ми работа, която е нормална човешка ДНК нишка и постепенно показва как тя се развива, като тук се вкарва, във втория етап се вкарва протеина, който реже вируса или вредната част от ДНК-то и го заменя с нова. И след като всичко това се случи, накрая става последния процес, за мен, който е финалния и исках да създава въздействие на много динамика и движение в последната фаза, понеже завършваме и малките деца показват това яко движение, ритъм, който в първата е по-спокойно, във втората е като затишие пред буря или преминаваш процес. И използвах техниката висок печат, която направих, развих по свой собствен начин, защото ползвах инструменти за дълбок печат и направих такава структура. И мисля, че има да кажа за златото. Понеже използвам златно мастило, това презентира отчасти властта и колко ти е златото изобразява частта, в която като символ на власт и на религия, понеже в иконите се ползва злато. Искам да покажа нещо като иконизиран портрет на самите форми, погледнати от микроскоп, като увековечени и дали наистина същината на въпроса как човек може да си играе над Господ и докато още не сме разбрали за какво става дума с истинското ДНК, да си играем за себе си с наистина някакъв сериозен религиозен въпрос и глобален, като откъде идваме и как може ние сами да променим бъдещето и развитието си. И може да стане по този начин.
Hi, I'm Alexander Vazakov, and this is my work for the Cubos de Tentaciones, Mind Terrain, and the technique is relief print, and my whole idea started when we were near to some kind of a lockdown, and I was thinking for a lot of things, and at one point I started thinking for exactly what I am thinking, and at that point I realized that I'm creating actions, decisions and plots in an absolutely imaginable space. That space was really interesting for me because I never wondered how it looked like. And exactly this was the first time I realized that I would like to see the visualization of this place. And when I understand that, I instantly started thinking how I can realize this project and how I can show other people how I think this place where you create objects from your past, from your present and from your maybe from your future looks like. And I started thinking, and I decided that my main things that I will use are the geometric shapes and the lines. I use the line as something that is spread freely and unstoppable. Infinite is just absolutely endless. And I decided that the line will symbolize the thoughts in our lives and the thoughts in our past, present and future. And geometric shapes will symbolize the decisions we have made, because the geometric forms are they symbolize the stability and a decision you make, when the decision is done and the action is done. It's something you can hardly change. So my representation of this space is made by using the vertical walls of the cube. Like the right one is the past, and there the geometric shapes are bigger than the lines and they're heavier than the lines, because the actions have a lot of weight in the past. And if you think about this for a second, you will realize that whenever you think about your past, you only remember your decisions and your actions, and the decisions made for the actions and all the way around. And you don't remember your thoughts. So your thoughts are only going around the past actions. So that's why the thoughts are smaller and the actions are bigger and heavier and darker. Yeah. So then we have it at the middle, the present, where the thoughts and the actions are in sync. They're in absolute sync, and you do everything you think, things about you do, and that's all. And then there is the future, where in the future the thoughts are bigger and there are no actions. There is only place for the actions, because in the future you only want to do things, but you cannot do them actually, because it's the future. And all the past, present and future are vertically exposed, and the bottom and the lower part of the cube are they create. So my idea was to create a 3D object, and to create a 3D object you need to have the horizontal line and the vertical line, and the vertical line is produced by the upper wall and the lower wall, and the horizontal line is made by all these three, and all connected they made the object. And in my work there is a smaller cube, and this cube is absolutely correct form of the bigger one, but just in really small size. And this is because the cube itself was part of my past, my present and my future, and it's a little bit tricky to understand exactly all the way around, but I think that the cube and the center symbolizes exactly that this is the visualization that I had that I had, that I have, and that I will have for the cube. And yeah, I forgot to say about the upper and the lower wall, and they are all made with one big action that is all black and a lot of dots, and they symbolize the process. They symbolize the process when you start to think about these events in your brain, in your mind. And at this moment, when you start to think about them, you then connect all the actions, decisions, and you realize that all the past, the present, and future are all connected, and then and they help you to understand exactly the. They help you understand exactly the object that you had created, and or you are creating at the moment. And that's all.